Okay, welcome back to the Are You Strong show. I have another awesome guest on the show today. And before I say her name, I want to tell you a little bit about her, like I do with all the guests. Is this young woman is one hell of a soccer player. She's from Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania, where when she was a young lady growing up in high school, her accolades are pretty intense. She was named to the Mid-Penn Commonwealth Division first team and All-Centennial girls soccer first team. She was selected for the U.S. women's national team under age 18, right? And she played club soccer with the Penn Fusion Soccer Academy, where they won back-to-back first place finishes in their division, all because of her, right? Then she goes on to college at, we love to hear Rutgers, right here in good old New Jersey, where she was named all Big Ten freshman, where she played in 16 games, which is awesome. She earned third team Big Ten as one of the top defenders in the conference. And this is what I love to say about all the athletes who come on the show. She was all academic Big Ten too, which is really shows you what these young women are made of. Then she goes on to the University of South Carolina for her master's degree, which tells you how academically smart this young lady is, and finished up her soccer career and then went on to Sweden to play professionally. So I am totally excited to have this young lady on this show. Emma Misal, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me. A little bit about me. Obviously, he already said it, but I graduated from Rutgers with a degree in psychology, and then I had my fifth year because of COVID, so I decided to transfer, went to South Carolina, and then I decided to play professional soccer in Sweden, but my time there got cut short, and I only lasted a week there because I kind of messed up my ankle. So I'm back home rehabbing that in New Jersey and Pennsylvania. And that's kind of where I am today.
All right. Well, welcome to the show. And there's more things I could have said, but I would have taken too much time to talk about all the accolades you have. And what's really cool, I've had a number of young Rutgers women's soccer players on the show, and you guys are intense.
Yes.
It's like the world doesn't really. I don't think they fully understand how good you guys really are. And I want everyone to say, and I said this to you before. I use the word guys generically.
Yeah.
You ladies, man, are intense,
Yes.
and it's fun to watch,
Yeah.
you know. Um, but here's a question I ask a lot of people when they're on the show is Big Ten soccer, it really doesn't get any bigger, does it, in college?
I mean, Power Four, all of Power Four is pretty big for soccer,
Yeah,
but Big Ten is.
Big Ten is big, right?
Yeah.
But to play at that level, coming at it, especially, this is no disrespect, but Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania, it's out in the middle of Pennsylvania. It's
Yes.
probably hard to be found, from other the big schools, which means you're really good. But when did you realize that you were good, that good to play at the Big Ten level? Was that something that that you were a prodigy at 5 years old and people watching you kick the ball? Or was that something that developed over time? And then when you got into high school, people started saying, hey, you could do this at the next level. When did that start?
I think it was always kind of known to me that I was gonna make it to the next level because since I was little, I was always traveling for soccer. I lived in Shippensburg before Mechanicsburg, and when I was living in Shippensburg, I was traveling to Mechanicsburg to play. I was playing with the boys team, and I think until I was like 13 or 14, I was playing with the guys. And then in high school, when I went to Penn Fusion, I was like, all right, yeah, this is definitely happening. Like I knew, I mean, my move to Penn Fusion, it was an hour and a half commute, 4 nights a week from Mechanicsburg every single day when I was in high school. So I kind of gave up my high school experience because
Who was driving you back and forth?
my mom, so my mom actually quit her job to help.
Wow.
And I was also in a carpool with people from Lancaster, so we would rotate on that. So if it wasn't my mom's turn to drive, we would drive to Lancaster and then they would take me to Westchester and that was the rotation.
So
But
your mother quit her job to support your soccer career.
yes.
Holy smokes, that's pretty.
Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah, very thankful for that. And my dad was working his butt off to help our family for that decision. So, very thankful for my parents. They've done a lot for me to be where I'm at today. But yeah, so I made the decision to not play high school soccer because it was a rule in Penn. I played high school freshman year because that's when it was ECNL. But then I don't know if you know anything, but the
You
DA
can't,
came,
you're not allowed to do both, right? Something
yeah,
like that.
after when the DA came out, you're not allowed to do both. So
Like
it's
what?
either
Why not? Like why? What's that silly
they
rule?
changed it a little. ECNL, you're allowed to, but that's because you don't have a fall season for
Right?
ECNL, and DA, it was all year round. You're playing like big tournaments, big games, and everything. So
Yes.
there's like no high school soccer. So my last 3 years of high school, I didn't play high school soccer, which really like played a role in my development in high school. Even like I feel like I didn't have I don't want to say friend. All my friends were in Westchester. My friends weren't really my high school friends or anything
But
because I
were
was
your was your
around.
high school teammates, were they mad at you for not playing?
My high school coach was.
Okay.
She was not happy with me at
Yeah.
all. I mean, I mean, my teammates were kind of just like, why aren't you playing? They didn't
Yeah.
understand because no one traveled like I did.
Yeah.
I was the only one in my area traveling
Yeah.
like this.
But
So,
if let me ask you this crazy question, and I don't want to keep cutting you off because
no, you're good.
cool stuff, but I'll forget. Is Do you think if you stayed on the high school team and played there and didn't play at these other higher level teams, you would have ended up playing at the level of college soccer you're at?
No.
Okay.
And I've actually talked to like coaches or like people, adults about this recently because I was like, I wish I would have played high school. And it was a head coach of a club team around this area. And he was like, yeah, but if you would have played high school, do you think you would have made it? Like, I think it would have been hard
Is it
because,
that much of a difference of skill level?
yes, yeah.
Okay.
I think it's getting a little bit better, but not, it's definitely different. The tournaments that like, Penn Fusion is in compared to my local teams here, I would not be able to get all the colleges that I got, like
Right.
looking at them and everything. So
Okay.
definitely made a difference. And I'm glad I did make the jump. Plus, some of my best friends are still from that Westchester, like the Penn Fusion team. And
Yeah.
I'm really close with those coaches as well. So I stay in touch with that team. I try to help coach when I'm home and everything with them.
Yeah.
So
Now,
I'm,
have some of those girls gone on to play big time soccer like you did?
yeah. Yeah. There was a lot. Everyone on my team went D1.
Okay.
A lot went to minor, but there was a couple that went to Power Four schools.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
So is the coach is pretty good.
Yeah. The club in general is
Yeah.
pretty good.
That's good. That's cool. So what other sports did you play? Was it just soccer growing up and that's it, or were you doing other stuff as well?
So I played basketball from second grade to eighth grade, and then I had to give it up and pick a sport. And
Okay.
then I ran cross country in middle school just because I was good at running because I ran for miles for soccer.
Yeah.
And it was out for middle school, it was fall was cross country, spring was soccer, and winter, obviously, basketball. So I did three sports in middle school, but that was
Then
a
when you get to high school, you had to cut it down to one.
yes. Yeah.
All right. And how did the basketball team feel about that?
They were trying to see if there was a way that I could play basketball, but at the end of the day, soccer was my main priority and it just wasn't possible. So
Okay.
I was just like, yeah, no, it's not happening.
So tell me about the recruiting process. It's really out of control today. It's
Yeah.
out of
It's
control.
better now than it was when
You
I was in.
think?
Yes, better now because there's rules now. I mean, I was getting recruited eighth, ninth grade,
Okay.
and now it's like you can't even talk to coaches until what, 11th grade or something.
But all the NIL money and now the new
Yeah,
rules, the
yeah,
collectives, it's crazy.
yeah, that definitely makes a big difference.
Yeah.
But I think when I was getting recruited in ninth grade, I didn't really know what I wanted from a school. And I just think that part of the process, I'm glad is different now because girls are in 11th grade making decisions instead of eighth, ninth grade
So
making.
that's the rule. They can't touch you or talk to you until you're in 11th grade.
Yeah, I don't know
Okay.
exactly the rules to a T. Like, I don't know if they
Okay.
can reach out to your coach and be like, we're interested. So you know there's coaches interested, but I know you can't
They
actually talk.
can't send you a sneaky message through Twitter or
Yeah,
something,
no. No.
right? So tell me about your recruiting process. Was there a lot of schools banging down your door? Was it tough to make a decision? How did that work for you?
So I was getting a lot of mid-major schools at first, and I mean, I thought I wanted, honestly, my dream school when I was going through the process was South Carolina,
Okay.
and I wanted to play in the SEC, but I was like getting a little, I was talking to Tennessee a little bit, and I was getting a little bit, but nothing like, there was no offers. I wasn't going on a visit other than the mid-major schools. Those were the only ones that offered me, and those were all like full rides. Wouldn't have to pay for anything. And
Now,
then
can you define what people are hearing what you're saying? Like, what the hell is mid-major? What does Power Four mean? Can you just define that?
so Power Four is when I was getting recruited, it was Power Five, but it's SEC, Big Ten, Big 12, Pac 12, and wait, what's the one that well, ACC too, but I don't know which one. One of the 12s got eliminated. I forget which one.
I don't know, the Big 12 or the Pac-12.
Yes,
Yeah,
Pac 12 is no longer a thing.
right.
So, yeah, I as you can tell, I don't follow it like
You
that.
know enough.
Yeah, but the mid majors are all the like smaller D1 schools that aren't part of that Power Five.
Hmm.
So I really, my end goal was definitely Power Five. That's what I wanted. My main thing was SEC. I just thought my style of play fit the SEC more. Now that I experienced both, I am so happy that I picked a Big Ten school. But
Now, what's the difference between the ACC, Big Ten, when you're saying that your style? What would be the difference?
so for women's soccer, I feel like I don't know, from if you're big into soccer, you can see a big difference. ACC is a lot of technical, and they're one of the top conferences for soccer. They do well every year. There's a lot of teams in there that are successful, but they're very, very technical. Big Ten is more like I think it's a little bit of technical, but it's more physical, and it's
Physical.
also like really big into defense more, I would say. Like I think for Big Ten, you're not seeing five, six goals that teams are scoring. It's more of like a 1-0 game or something.
Yeah.
That's why I liked Big Ten because I'm a defender. And then SEC is more, if I'm being honest, playing in it, it feels more kick and run. So it's not it's more about just athleticism. Like how fast are you? How athletic are you? And there's good parts of SEC, but I wouldn't say it's like a good style of soccer. At least it didn't fit how I would want to play. I don't like
Yeah.
playing kick and run. I don't want to, I would rather put the ball on the ground and pass it around.
Now, who's been winning the national championships last couple of years?
ACC for the most part.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all tough.
Yeah, they are.
I mean, you get to that
Last,
level, it's incredible.
yes, this past season, ACC was the whole Final Four, which was crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, which doesn't make me happy, I
No.
think. But I do think Big Ten and ACC have been the
Yeah.
most successful the last couple of years.
Did you watch the softball last night or no?
No, I didn't, but I was seeing highlights this morning when I was at the gym.
Yeah, I'm a big college softball fan. My daughter growing up was a softball player, so we used to watch it.
Yeah.
But they're intense too, you
Yeah.
know. And it was a great final. And
Yeah.
just watching those girls, just their skill level at that level, it's just fun to watch. Plus,
Yeah.
there's so much action going on. It's not
Yeah.
like men's baseball. It's so boring. It's like, come on, speed it up. They don't make any noise. They're not. This is just crazy. I like watching the
Yeah, I
softball
don't
though.
usually watch softball or baseball because
No,
well, I always thought it was boring. I mean, I because it
softball's intense. They're moving pretty quick. I mean, and those girls are throwing that ball on average, if you compare it to the men, like 95 miles an hour,
yeah, that's pretty
and at
cool.
45 feet out. It's
Yeah, that's
nuts.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah, but Texas won. It was fun. And now with the girl, the pitcher from Texas Tech, she just signed another $1 million NIL deal,
Wow.
and they lost. She got rocked in the first inning. They that she gave up 5 or 6 runs in the first inning that took her out. I'm
Wow.
sure the person who just signed that $1 million deal is not too
Yeah.
happy.
Yeah.
You know. So how did you choose Rutgers, or did they choose you?
So there was a random, it was after a game. I don't know what it was after, but it was Meg Ryan actually reached out to me. She was one of the coaches who she ended up leaving after my sophomore year and going to Maryland. But she reached out to me and was just like, "We're interested. Can you come on a visit?" And I went on a visit. Well, at first I was like, "No, I'm not going to school in Jersey. I'm not doing that." And also, I don't know if you know this, but Rutgers is kind of there's a big connection with the club PDA
Yeah.
because my Rutgers coach, Mike O'Neill, is also the head of PDA.
Okay.
So there's a big connection there.
Now,
And
what's PDA?
PDA is like a Penn Fusion. It's the Penn
Okay,
Fusion of New Jersey. So it's
got it.
the biggest club in New Jersey. And I was like, absolutely not. I'm not doing that. And that's PDA. Like, I was a Penn Fusion girl through and through. I wasn't about to
They're
go
the
to,
enemy.
yes.
Right.
And a lot of my teammates are PDA too. So I was like, no, I'm not doing that. The whole team is PDA, which isn't the case anymore, but at the time it was. And I was like, there's no way. And then I went on the visit and the offer was good. And I liked the coaches a lot. And it was a big school. And I was like, this is a big offer for a big school. Like, I don't know. I'm kind of leaning towards that just because I also felt a little rushed in my process because I was like, I'm not getting much. And I could have waited for the big tournament. There was a big tournament coming up in a week or two. And I just don't know. Like they were like, I'm not putting a timeline on you, but if you don't commit there soon, there's a chance that we won't have all of this money for you. And I was like, well, I don't want to lose it, so I'm gonna commit. So I committed, and that was basically my only big school at the time. So, I mean, I know there was like my recruiting process when I was going into my fifth year for my transfer, that was completely different. That was like all of the big schools were reaching out, which was, it felt really good, but it made the decision hard. So at the time when I was in high school, I was like, this is a big school. I want to play big time soccer. I want to do this. I'm committing. So I committed, and honestly, I could not trade that for the world. That was the best decision I think I ever made. I'm sure in the moment there was times where I was like, did I make the right decision? I
Yeah.
don't know. But looking back on my experience, I'm very thankful for my 4 years at Rutgers. So I'm happy I did that. But yeah,
So I got to ask you this then. You were happy there, you loved it there. Why transfer out?
so that's why I say that looking back on it, it was probably the best 4 years I could have ever asked for. Because I think when you're in it, you don't always recognize that. And I've had a lot of time to reflect and recognize that I got a lot of what I wanted. I was a 4 year starter, I was a captain. I got a lot of what I wanted. I will say when also we made it to a Final Four and I played every minute of
Yeah,
that Final Four. Like that's something that not many people can say they did in their
right.
college experience. So that's why when I look back on it, I'm like, I won a Big Ten championship. I made it to a Final Four as a 4 year starter and I was captain. Like, why wouldn't I love it? In the moment, I will say I was dealing with a lot of injuries, and that played a role on my mental health and everything. And I spent 4 years there. And also, there was a little for my fifth year because I was injured so much, the money wasn't guaranteed anymore, which at the time I was like, I don't understand. I've played such a big role on this team. And then I was like, now looking back on it, I'm like, I get it.
Well,
Like,
they can pull the money.
well, because it was my fifth year.
Okay.
Because I was going into like it was an extra year
Yeah.
because of COVID. So
Yep.
they didn't have to guarantee me money until I signed the papers. And at first it was like, of course, like you're gonna get the money we talked about. Like,
Yeah.
but then it was kind of like you haven't been healthy. And my coach was right. At the time it sucked. I was like, how do you like I've been a big part of this team,
Yeah.
not just as a player. Like I was a captain and everything. So I was upset, but then it was kind of mutual in a way, and it was like, all right, take your fifth year somewhere else, experience
Yeah.
something else. And
You know what really stinks about that?
Well,
That's when you realize no matter how much you give, it's still a business.
yep.
It's
Yeah.
not about, even though they say it's about developing girls, it's about developing professionals, it's about getting an education, all that,
Yeah.
it's all about money. It's
Yeah.
all about money and winning.
Yes.
And that's what I think the young people have to understand at that level of competition.
Yeah.
You're pretty much minor league professionals
Yeah.
preparing for the next level.
Yeah.
And those coaches, they get paid to win. They don't get paid to lose.
Exactly.
They don't get paid to be 500.
Yeah.
They get paid to win, and their career's on the line too.
Exactly.
It
And
kind of
that's
stinks.
why when I left Rutgers, I was like, I don't want to ever look at them again. At first, that's what I was like
Yeah.
pretty upset with my
Your
coach.
ego was hurt.
Yeah, I was upset. And then the more I got into like being at South Carolina, and then when my season was done, I was like, wow, I get it. And
Hot down there too.
yeah, it is. But I was kind of just like, I get why my coach did what he did.
Yeah.
Like he had to do it. And I respect him for that. I actually, when I remember driving home from South Carolina and I sent my coach from Rutgers a text and I was like, I just want you to know, like, I appreciate everything you've done for me. Like, I don't
Okay.
know. I just had something in me where I was like, he has done so much for me. And when I left, I don't know if I really showed him how much I appreciated him. So I wanted to reach back out and be like, thank you. Because when I had time to reflect, I was like, he is running a business. He was
Yep.
right. Like, I wasn't healthy. I wasn't playing my best soccer. And it wasn't like just a 1 month thing. It was 2 years of me battling
Yeah.
injuries, mental health
Yeah.
things. And I couldn't hold that against him. And at the end of the day, he did a lot for me, and I'm thankful for that. So that's why I'm really happy I did send him that text because I have a great relationship with him now. And I'm
That's
also
great.
very thankful I went to South Carolina because it made me appreciate Rutgers.
That's
So,
great.
yeah.
That's so you already said it, but I'm gonna ask you anyway. Maybe you're probably gonna bring it up. Like, what's your most memorable moment there? I mean, 4 years, soccer, craziness. It's an unbelievable school right outside New York City, awesome sports programs. Like, there's so many cool things. What's at the top of the list?
Hands down, Final Four.
I knew you were gonna say that.
Yeah. I mean, that season, like, don't get me wrong, that season was hard because it didn't come easy in any way, like even playing time and stuff. There was a lot of battles
Yeah,
internally that season, but when we won the Big Ten that year, we went 10-0, which is very rare. That doesn't happen often. Like we were on top of the world. We lost in the Big Ten finals for the tournament, but I think that was necessary. And then to make it as far as we did in the NCAA tournament, to play, we were number one seed. So we had all of the games till the Elite Eight at our home stadium, which was insane because home field advantage is just, I mean, we had great fans.
huge.
Yeah, we had great fans at Rutgers too. Like it was huge. And then to go to California and there was so many Rutgers people out in California watching our Final Four
Yeah,
game too. And that was the best team I've ever been a part of. Just all the girls, all the upperclassmen. I love them. I look up to them. I still talk to them. I was training with one before I left for Sweden, and I don't know. The coaching staff that year, like everything just was looking back on it. I am so thankful that I had that experience, and not many
yeah.
people can have that experience. So, hands down, Final Four year, which was my sophomore year.
So when did the new locker room come into play?
That was actually for our spring. So, our season was moved to the spring during my freshman year because of COVID.
Yeah,
And that's when we had that locker room.
yeah. I remember. I don't know who posted the video. Somebody when you guys walked in there for the first time, like, oh my God,
Yeah, because
it's a
we
pretty
didn't
sick
have,
locker
like,
room.
before that, there was nothing. Like we were in the hail or something.
Yeah,
I wasn't there because during COVID, we didn't even have a locker room. And then the Rodkin came about, and I was like, wow, this building is insane. It is so
sick.
nice. Yeah,
Now,
it has
how
everything I
does
need.
that compare? But how does that compare to the rest of their competition? Like you go out and you're playing Ohio State. What's their locker room like? Have you ever, do you get to see these other schools' locker rooms and
I don't know
facilities?
what like their home locker room looks like.
Yeah.
Ohio State's facilities, I will say, those that was my favorite place to play at because
Okay.
they had a good locker room right by. But it's different when you're the away team because you don't get to see everything.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of Big Ten schools, honestly, that the away team was stuck in a tent, which was
Really?
awful. Like Michigan, Michigan State, Penn State was like that. And I was
They
just like,
put you in a tent?
yeah, a tent. And it's freezing. Like I remember being at Wisconsin and in the wind, it was freezing and we were in this small little tent. And I was just like,
They do
what?
that on purpose.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, because sometimes I think by the field, the home team might be in a tent too. Sometimes, not all the schools. But I don't know. I
Hmm.
don't know how they do that. I will like so it's hard saying from a away team. When I was going on visits for my
Yeah.
fifth year and everything, I saw a little bit more schools and I mean I just think when you experience the Rodkin and you recognize that everything you need is right there, like
At your fingertips.
yeah. Like don't get me wrong, the schools I was visiting had really good facilities and everything. It's just the Rodkin was home. Like
It's nice. I've
yeah.
been in there. It's nice. It's definitely nice. So you got a lot of good memories,
Yes.
right? You got a lot of cool things going on there, but then you got hit with some injuries.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that, which is probably not fun for you to talk about. But what happened? How did that affect you? What was it like coming back from that? And I know you're dealing with one now, another one. So it's part of an athlete's life. And after this question, it's like a two-part, is
Okay.
can you give us a walkthrough of a day in the life of what it was like for you playing soccer at Rutgers, like school, getting up, going to practice, going to games, going to school, going to homework, going to bed. Like, walk us through that too, because the typical person, traditional student, the NARPs, right? Is that what they call them? They
Yes.
they don't understand. They think you guys all sleep till 10.
Yeah, no. Not at
So
all.
let's hit the injury stuff first.
All right. So I dealt with a lot of injuries. At first they were pretty minor injuries. My freshman year, there was some like ankle issues. I broke my big toe, which put me in a boot during COVID, and then that threw off my ankles and hips and everything. So I was
How do you
dealing with
break your big toe? You kick something?
it was during playing. I don't know what happened
Somebody
if
step on it?
I think so. I really don't know. And I didn't think I needed to be in a boot for it. I was really frustrated about it. I'm very stubborn when it comes to like, I don't, I handle pain fine. So I'm like, oh, I'm fine. I'm fine. I don't
Yeah.
need to do that. So I was very stubborn, but they were like, we don't have a season right now. You're going in a boot. I was like, okay, whatever. So then it kind of caused a little bit of issues for I don't know what was going on with my ankles, but there were like stress reactions almost from too much on them. So that was my freshman year. And then, so that was spring. I was dealing with the ankle stuff. So I had to kind of lay back in the summer because we had a big season in the fall coming up. So there wasn't much time to like give our body a rest. So then the fall happened. I was pretty healthy throughout the fall until the Big Ten championship, tournament championship. I broke two ribs and I was like dealing with that the rest of the
How did you do
NCAA.
that? You get knocked
I
it
got
down or
hit.
something?
I got hit in the game. Like, I don't know, a girl just like trucked me and I was out. But I was fine. We didn't know what it was and we weren't gonna really figure it
And
out
you
because
played through it?
yeah. Because I was like, I'm in an NCAA tournament. This is the best team I've ever been part of. I'm not sitting out of this season. So then I played every minute of that NCAA tournament till the Final Four, and then I got an X-ray or an MRI, I think, because I don't know if the X-ray could see it or something. Got an MRI the next like week within the week, and they were like, "Yeah, you have two broken ribs." I was like, "Oh, well, that explains why I've been in pain."
Yeah.
So that was my sophomore year, which those were pretty minor. And then my junior year came, and it was the second scrimmage before the season started. So our last scrimmage before our real game. And I remember just sprinting back on the opposite side of Ursac. Ursac's our home field. and I just like came up and I was like, "Oh no, something's wrong with my hamstring." And I jogged off the field and then I was like, I can't walk after that. Like I don't know if it
Mm.
was just adrenaline going, but then I was like, something's not right. And I remember like my parents were at that game and I was with them after. I was like, "Oh, I'll be back in a week. I'll be fine." And my dad was like, "I don't think you understand your hamstring."
Did you
Like,
tear it?
so it's actually I have a long history of hamstring issues, so I don't know. It is torn. It was torn. I don't know if I tore it my junior year or my senior year. They
Okay.
said then that it was grade two, but I don't really know because they didn't do an MRI, they did an ultrasound at the time. So that was my, and then I was trying to rush back. So I was out for all of out of conference games. I was trying to rush back. It was like 3 weeks in, and I was doing my last sprint to get cleared to play. And I came up and did my other one. So
Oh
my
my God.
other hamstring kind of like strained a little. I think that one was like grade one, in between grade one and grade two, so it wasn't as bad. So then I the rest of the season I eventually got back for Big Ten play, but the rest of the season it was like either my right hamstring was wrapped or my left hamstring was wrapped, which everyone was hurting at the time, and I didn't want to wrap both because I was like, that's just gonna look awful.
It's
So
got to be hard to move.
yeah, so I wrapped whichever one was hurting more at the time, and that was my junior season trying to get through that.
Now, I know what that means, but tell people like when you have a wrapped hamstring, like that's like cutting off circulation. It's so tight, right?
Yeah, so it like almost restricts it that I don't even think I can sprint as fast as I would because it's so tight. And it restricts it. I don't even know what it does necessarily. I think it's more of like a mental thing for me. Like it hurts. I know that I need it something to protect it almost. But yeah, I don't know. That it definitely it played a role in how I was playing too
But
because
nothing stopped you. You just kept fighting through the hamstrings, the ribs, the toe.
yeah,
You
no.
didn't want like you weren't taking time off.
No, not at all.
No. Now, so how did you handle that mentally? You know, you're out there playing and you know you're not at your peak because of all these pains, but you just keep pushing. How do you balance that?
Um, I will say that I struggled with that a lot. Like the mental part of my game was definitely struggling all throughout college. And I don't know, I talked to like sports psych people and everything and tried to help, but at the end of the day, a lot of it was just trying to like how I talked to myself during the game and
Mm.
everything. I didn't really realize that even until I got to South Carolina, how important it is to talk to like how I talk to myself because I'm pretty hard on myself. Obviously, most people are hard on themselves.
So drive that a little deeper if you don't mind, you know,
No,
because
I don't.
this is so cool. One, you have the courage to talk about it, but from an athletic standpoint, if I remember the gazillion years ago when I was playing, you do talk to yourself out there on the field all
Yeah,
the entire game. You're talking to
the
yourself,
entire yeah.
you know, and people don't understand that. Like you're telling yourself what to do, not to do. What are you afraid of? What are you like talk about that. What were you saying to yourself during the tough times? And then once you figured out, hey, I got to fix this. How did that change?
So at first I would be like, oh, I'm not the same Emma. I'm not as fast. I'm not. And a big part of my game was my speed because I was pretty fast. And that's what helped me defend even. I was like, I'm not the same Emma. I'm not keeping up with these girls. I was keeping up with them. I just like couldn't beat them with my speed anymore. And I was just like, I don't know, like I don't feel as strong. I can't kick the ball right now with this foot or something. Like there was games that I played where I was like, I don't think I could hit a long ball with my left leg right now or something. And that as a defender that you kind of need that. So I was just like, how am I gonna do this? And I would question everything I was doing
Mm.
because I wasn't confident in what I was doing. And eventually when I figured it out more, I recognized that there is so many negative words with what I was saying. And honestly, just changing the way that I talk to myself, like instead of saying, I don't know if I can do it or I can't do it, it's like, keep going, you got it, you got it. And I remember one practice when I was at South Carolina, I was going through it mentally because I just wasn't playing as much. And then I was getting down on myself and every single mistake I made. And I talked to a sports psych about it. and they were like, just motivate yourself, like talk positive, say keep going, you got this, keep moving and everything. And instead of saying like don't do this, don't do that, it was more just motivating language instead, and that honestly helped me a lot, which I didn't
Yeah.
think would, because I was like, what does it matter? But it made me want to keep going and not stop, instead of saying like don't stop, don't quit, which is kind of negative because you're just like don't do this. So it was more just changing even what how I'm saying it. Like I
Mm,
was still getting the same point across to my mind,
yeah.
but like the
Just
language that,
different words.
yeah, exactly. And that helped a lot throughout talking to myself on the field. But
It's funny. Sometimes you actually verbally, your people hear you talking to yourself.
yeah, yeah,
It's not just, hey, it's I'm talking in my mind. Like you're actually t telling
yeah,
yourself out there. Like they're like, who are you talking to? I'm like talking to myself.
yeah.
So you've been dealing with injuries forever.
Yeah.
Seems like.
My senior year too, it was my last game out of conference game, so right before Big Ten played. I went down with another hamstring, and that kept me out all season. Eventually they were like, something's not right. I got an MRI. My right hamstring's completely torn. Like there's four muscles in the hamstring, and I completely tore one. Still torn to this day. It's not surgical because
Was there any blood pool in there or anything like that?
um like no.
No.
It was weird. It was a weird injury. That's why they don't know if it happened my junior year or senior year too. When I finally got the MRI, they were just like, "Oh yeah, it's completely
But
torn."
why wouldn't they MRI? Did they MRI it before? Or they just,
Ultrasound.
don't worry about it, you're good.
Just an ultrasound. They were like, I think it's great too." And then when I did my hamstring again, they were kind of like, "Something's not right. We need to MRI this." And then they're like, "Oh yeah, it's completely torn." I was like, "Oh, okay."
Oh my God, it's crazy. So you're physically getting beat up.
Yeah.
You're mentally torturing yourself, and trying to get over that. How do you not burn out from all this?
Yeah, so I think I was thinking about burnout a lot, and I don't think physically I'm capable of or I don't know, my way of coping with things, which isn't always the healthiest, and I've learned a lot since then, was to overtrain basically. I would go for runs, I would work out, I would do wall ball forever. And that was my way of like coping mentally, was
Mm,
to distract myself and like keep working out. I love movement. That's my thing. And that was my hobbies even outside of soccer, which obviously probably wasn't always the healthiest. Um, so I don't think I was capable of burning out because that brought me so much joy. But mentally, I was definitely, there was a mental burnout in a way, but I never was like, I can't get up and do this workout. Like, that was never the case. It was just like, oh, I feel drained. And it was almost like I was disassociating myself and I was just like not there. I would just go and work out, but
Could
mentally,
people tell? Could your teammates tell there was something up?
um, so I had a really good relationship with my trainer at Rutgers and one of the Rutgers doctors, and they knew, and they kind of knew everything that was going on, and I've opened up to them. They know a lot of everything. So they would try to help me, and they were just like always there for me, so I knew I could talk to them about things. And my teammates, I think some of them might have known. I know my best friend Liv, actually, the goalie that I was talking about earlier.
Hmm.
She definitely knew, and there were some like conversations that I would have with her. But yeah, overall, I think I kind of hid it for the most part, but there was some times where it wasn't easy to hide anymore, and people might have seen it, especially when the injuries were happened, because
Yeah.
the injuries, it's like I can't really hide all the
Yeah.
time that I'm not mentally okay.
You can't hide an injury.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
So how about your mom and dad? Could they tell something was up? Did you talk to them about it, or did you hide
Yeah.
it from them?
Yeah. So I have a really good relationship with both my parents, and they definitely knew what was up, and I would talk to them about it sometimes. Honestly, I would be probably more mean to them, which I don't know, that was I was just so close with them that when they would try to help or ask questions, I would almost like snap on them, which
Yeah.
obviously I'm not proud of, but that's
It's
just
always easy to treat the ones you love hard.
exactly. Exactly. And that's how they know that if I'm not okay too, because how I act towards
Yeah.
them, they're just like, all right, we get it.
Yeah.
But I definitely, I mean, they tried to help, but also I would try to shut people out and avoid
Yeah.
people. And those people were sometimes my parents that I would try to avoid and just not talk to
Yeah.
about anything because I didn't want to be mean to them, but I
Yeah.
also didn't want to talk about it.
Yeah. Now, were your parents athletes too growing up?
No, they weren't. They
Mm.
like to say they were, but they weren't.
Not at your level.
No, not
So
at all.
they don't understand it as much as they try. They
Yeah,
try to understand from a parental point of view,
exactly.
but from an athlete's point of view, they just they can't.
Yeah. And they've been there since I was 3 playing soccer. Like they know everything and how I mentally handle things and everything like that, but they don't truly get it from an athlete's perspective.
Yeah. Most people don't.
No.
Yeah, unless you're doing it, you
Yeah,
don't get it, you
exactly.
know? So now what I want to ask, this is part two now, is because I want the world to know is what was a day in a life like for you at Rutgers? And then when you transition to the professional ranks, then the things blew up there too physically, right?
Yeah.
So is what's the day in a life like there? And just let the world know, like, what does a college athlete, professional athlete have to deal with day in and day out? That the traditional person, no disrespect to any of them, what they don't have to do.
Yeah. So I got in a really good, I was all about routines. I needed a routine, a set routine when I was in college to succeed. So my typical routine was get up early. I, it depends what time the weight room was open, but sometimes 6, sometimes 7. Get up, go do my own workout, like a treadmill workout just to stay conditioned or a little bit of a lift, whatever I was feeling that day. And then I would go to class, and then I'd come rush back from class. My practice block was in the middle of the day. So when I got back from class, I would go straight to the Rodkin. I would do rehab stuff, work with my trainer, whatever I was feeling, she would help me with, go out to practice, do practice, probably then film, and then go back to the training room, do ice baths, whatever it was after post practice. And then after that, probably go to another class depending on the day. And then my class schedule wasn't too much because especially depending if it was in season or out of season, but I had some classes online too, so my class schedule wasn't that crazy, but it was either two, I think I had 3 classes once, but 2 classes in a day or one, depending on the day. So then I would go back to class and then I would come home at night and do homework, eat, make dinner, prepare for the next day, sometimes watch film, whatever it was. And that was kind of my day every day.
What time did you hit the bed?
Um, it depends. I would probably try to be asleep, like in bed by 11, but honestly, I struggled with sleep too. So my mind would always be going, especially in season. If there was a game or something, there was times where I wasn't sleeping till like 3, 4 a.m. because I
Oh
was
my God.
watching the game, which a lot of times when I look back on it, it was when I would have those nights where I was stressing about a game a week later or something, my hamstrings came about. So I think about
So
that a
you
lot.
think it's because you didn't get enough sleep is what your body
I think
started
I
breaking down?
was completely overdoing it. Like in every aspect of life, I wasn't sleeping enough. I was stressing too much. I was working out too much. There was a lot.
Pretty intense, huh?
Yeah.
So as a former college athlete and current professional athlete, what would you want the traditional person who doesn't live your world to know about what it takes to be a big time college and professional athlete? What does it take to be that?
Discipline, resilience. I think being an athlete it's like I don't there's so many different parts of like there's life, which obviously is already hard in itself. There's so many challenges in life that the average person will face. And you're dealing with that on top of trying to be an athlete and manage everything. So I think just the amount of discipline it really takes to go about our days and keep showing up when we don't want to or when we're dealing with something and to keep pushing past all of the challenges that we have. I mean, I had to be resilient in a lot of like and overcome adversity because it just kept hitting me. Like I would work so hard for something and it just kept hitting me and I would go back down and it's just like I don't think that happens to everyone because I mean, obviously life, it happens to
Yeah.
everyone, but it's almost different because our identity is tied to our sport as well. So
Yeah.
it's like if something goes wrong, we have to deal with that and get back up and keep showing up because it's our job. And it's pushing our body past, oh, like it's pushing our body to physically being exhausted while we're already mentally exhausted. And I don't think people can understand that sometimes because it's just not everyone has to push their body that much.
Yeah. No, it's almost like you become like superhuman,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, and it's the pain, like all the pain injuries you have, well, people don't really get it. It's like you're in pain 24 hours a day
Yes.
and you
Yeah.
got to be normal
Yeah. Yes.
with the pain. You got to go to class with the pain. How about this? How hard is it as a college athlete at Rutgers, College Ave? I get it. The scene is huge. How hard is it to have the discipline to say no? I'm not going out to that bar. I'm not going out to that party. I'm not going out to that social whatever. How hard is that?
I think I'm different in that sense because I don't necessarily, I wasn't a big, like, I don't know. I kept to myself a lot. I
Okay.
loved hanging out with my teammates and everything and stuff like that, but I wasn't craving to go out and go to the bar. I think there was some nights where I was like, oh, it'd be nice to just relax right now and just have a night where I can just forget
Because you
about things.
don't get much of that.
No, not at all. So
No.
that part is hard. It's more of like rather than being missing out on socially, because I would much rather be doing what I'm doing than going to a social event, if I'm being
Hmm.
honest, because that's just how I was. But the hard part was like, I just want to relax, and I feel like I
Yeah.
can't relax. And that was the hard part of those nights. And so I wouldn't say it was saying no to things. It was more like, how can I just like let
Just calm
loose and
down.
relax? Yeah. And that was the hardest part of being an athlete, I think.
So what did you do to help yourself relax?
Mm, work out, which was my problem.
Which is really not probably what you're
No.
not supposed to do.
Yeah, exactly. And I had like the Rutgers doctors, my trainers would always be like, Emma, you need to
Just go
chill.
lay on the couch.
Yeah, like and I just was so like I don't want to think, I don't want to be with my thoughts, which now I've still struggle with this, but I've this injury has kind of forced me to slow down and relax because I physically am not allowed to actually do things.
Right.
But so that it I'm still figuring out just to be present and be with my thoughts, but that was I mean, I would try to hang out with my teammates and we would watch soccer and everything, but it's not easy to like do that and
You
relax.
can't turn it off.
Yeah, you can't turn it off. And I think trying journaling was a big thing for me.
Okay.
I liked journaling because it got my thoughts out on paper, and I think that helped me. I had to be consistent with it though, and there was days where I was just like I can't do it right now, and I didn't want to. And that was my biggest struggle,
How
but
would that help you? I hear that a lot. A lot of people, I journal about my life. How does that help you therapeutically to ease your stress?
I think just getting it out somewhere instead of it being in my head the whole time, I would want to get it out on paper so then maybe I could like relax a little bit because it's at least out there.
Yeah.
And that helped me sleep at night sometimes because I struggled to sleep. So when I would journal, it's like, all right, at least I put all the thoughts out there. Like, what
Yeah.
else can I do? One big thing that I've started doing, actually, right before I left for Sweden, I started meditating.
Okay.
And that helped me a lot. I lose track of it sometimes now, but when I was in Sweden for the week that I was in Sweden, I was doing it a lot and I felt great. Like that was a big thing for me where I was like, whoa, this is, and it was because someone told me you should try meditating. And I was like, maybe. And then I tried it and I actually, like, I woke up and did it every day and it became part of my routine. And then I felt better. I mean, I still struggled at times, but for the most part, it like
It
helped me
helped.
overall. Yeah.
That's cool. Well,
Yeah.
just keep doing it.
Yeah.
And when you're journaling, it's almost like you're talking to yourself.
Yes.
Same
Yeah.
thing, like out in the field talking to yourself, or you're sitting down relaxing with a pen in your hand and talking to yourself,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly.
So identity, you said identity probably 20 times since we started talking.
Yeah.
And an athlete's identity, this I hate to say this, but I just remember it's almost everything. It's who you are and it's how people look at you too. Oh, you're Emma the soccer player,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And then when soccer's over, sometimes the athletes and their identity, it's like it's stripped from them.
Yeah.
And well, I'm just Emma now. I'm not the soccer player. But even though you still are now, but I'm saying in with other athletes. And some athletes have a very difficult time dealing with the ending, right? Some don't. But talk about you, soccer identity, how it has shaped you as a young woman and a professional soccer player, and then as a person, and how has it helped you, going forward?
Yeah. So I think I've struggled with this question a lot lately just because right now I might still be a soccer player, but I don't really know. Like, I'm going through the rehab and everything, but I don't really know what is going on. I don't know what it's going to be like when I get back from this injury. So I think I always was the soccer player because that was my next step. And I always knew what my next step was because it was always soccer. That's another thing about being an athlete. I'm a big, like, I strive off of consistency, knowing what's next. Like, I always need to know what's next. And I struggle when I don't. So that's why, like, my identity was so much soccer because I just always knew it was going to be soccer. It was going to be soccer. Next thing was soccer. I was done with high school. Okay, college soccer, whatever. So it was just like I struggle with this question still because I really didn't figure it out. It shaped me into who I am today, like my work ethic, the traits that I have, even my leadership and everything. I was a captain for a soccer team. Like it shaped me into who I am and how I carry myself with my work ethic and discipline and how I hold myself accountable. But I don't necessarily, I still can't answer the question fully of what is my identity outside of soccer, and I'm trying to figure that out, and this injury is forcing me to figure it out a little bit. But I don't like I struggle again, I struggle with this question.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think because identity is so like people know me for the soccer player, but they also know who I am. And if they actually know me, they know who I am, but they know
Right.
also that that's shaped me from like my identity has been shaped from sports. So
Yeah.
it's like, I don't
So
know.
if someone were to ask, well, who is Emma the person?
Mhm.
How do you describe that?
Um, I think someone like determined, hardworking. Um, wow, I'm struggling. Uh, As you can, I've been thinking about this question so much because of
I,
the
I could probably answer it for you, but I'm going to let you keep going.
yeah, I think yeah, I'm struggling because of I just think soccer, and that's what I've been struggling with.
Well,
But
take soccer out of it for a second and think about your life and skills. And people are probably wondering, why is he going down that road? But what has it turned you into? You're a leader,
Mhm.
right? You're a hard worker.
Yes.
You're empathetic
Yeah.
towards others, based on, especially when you see them going through things. You're probably more compassionate now than you ever have been in your life
Yeah.
due to what you've gone through. And now when you see these other girls going through it, you're like, hey, I know what they're dealing with now.
Yeah. Exactly.
You've learned through journaling and meditating how to maybe relax more, which you can now in turn teach others,
Yeah.
right? So it's like you're turning yourself into a a coach
Yes.
for
I,
others now.
yes. And that's a big part of all of this. Even in the last 3, 4 months, I've realized that my main goal out of my life is to help others and be there for others
And there you
and
go.
be supportive of others and everything. Like, I find joy so much in helping others just by sharing my experiences, even. And I was a psych major too, so I understand the brain a little bit. And I just really, I mean, I've started talking to girls about situations they're going through, if it's performance anxiety, if it's dealing with recruiting stress. And I just think I find so much joy in that. And when I get a text from a girl saying, "Thank you so much, you have helped me so much," that is what makes me happy. And I'm just happy that I can share my experiences and that helps others.
So how come you couldn't answer that before?
Well, yeah, I don't know.
Right? Well, there you go.
Because when someone asks me, it's like, as an athlete, you're always like, this is a common question. And
Yeah.
everyone's always like, you're a soccer player, yes, but what else are you? And it's like, you don't know how to answer it always.
So I'm going to throw this back at you then.
Okay.
Outside of injuries,
Mhm.
what do you think is your biggest source of stress as an athlete?
Um,
And if so, what can you tell the younger group coming in how to handle it?
um, I would say the fear of not being good enough.
Mm.
And I would say to handle that is to know, like, if you're giving your best at everything you do every day, like you should. I mean, that's how I live my life. I want to be giving my best at everything because I want to become better than I was yesterday. And if you're doing that, like, believe in yourself that you're doing everything possible to, like, not have that fear. Like, you shouldn't have that fear when you're working hard every single day to do that. Like, the fear of not being good enough for who? Someone else, because that shouldn't be the case. It should be good enough for yourself. So if you can lay your head down on the pillow at the end of the night and be like, I gave my all today and I did everything possible, then why is there a fear? Because you're doing everything possible to make sure you're good enough, because the only thing that matters is you're good enough for yourself.
Mm.
Like, who cares what that coach says? Who cares what your teammate says? Like, yeah, it's harder. It's easier said than done because obviously you care. If you're not playing on the field, you're gonna care. But it's like you do everything possible, then fear of not being good enough shouldn't be a thing because you're doing everything right for yourself.
So how does that happen, Emma? Or girls at your level of skill, how do you not have the confidence in saying, I am really good and I shouldn't have any of this fear of not being good enough? It's just because all the other girls are just so good that it's just so hard to say I'm good.
I think it like, if you're not playing, like, playing time is a big thing. If you're not getting the chances or something and you feel like you're not performing when you do get the chances, I think that's what leads to the fear of not being good enough. And you start to doubt yourself because you're not performing to your best ability or you're not getting what you want. So I think that's how it happens. I wouldn't say that that means it's true. Like, it depends how you look at the fear of not being good enough. I mean, you might not be playing, but what does that mean? Like, I don't know. I feel like fear of not being good enough, there's different levels to it
Yeah,
because you're good enough if you're doing everything you can and you are happy with what you're doing. But if there's something more you can do, then do it.
yeah. Well, it sounds like you got your career path mapped out for after soccer,
Yes.
you know?
Well, I hope so. But yes,
Talk about that. What's the vision look like? What's the future look like for you when the day comes where somebody's going to say, Emma, you can't play anymore? That's just you're not going to tell yourself you can't play. Someone's going to tell you. That's it.
yeah.
Everybody goes through that. What's next?
Yeah. So I had thought about this a lot when I was in college because I didn't know what was next necessarily, and then I decided to play. But for when I was in the 3 months of not being at South Carolina anymore and trying to find a professional team, I was like, what do I want to do if soccer doesn't work out? And then I started training girls and I was like, wait, I really like this. And then I was like, I've always thought about like a sports psych type of thing because of my psych background. And then a mom actually reached out to me and was like, hey, I think you have a really good connection with my daughter, and I was wondering if you could like almost mentor her in a way and like help her out through performance anxiety. Like, this is kind of what I see as the parent and why I think she could use some help. And I was just
That's
like,
cool.
actually, I really want to do this. Like, and then I went to Starbucks with that girl and had like a 2 hour talk with her. And I just was like so happy leaving that conversation because I was like, wow, that made me happy being able to help her. And it was like, I helped her in the way of I was sharing my experiences and I was so relatable to her that she felt so comfortable to open up to me. And I was like, this is what I really want to do.
How
So then
old is she?
she is a senior in high school.
So she's probably looking at you saying, holy crap, if this girl has the same issues that I have
Mhm.
or dealt with them,
Yeah.
I'm in pretty good shape.
Yeah. Yeah. So I found a lot of joy of that, and then I started doing that a little bit more. And when I was in Sweden for the week, I actually had like 2 or 3 calls with people when I was in Sweden, and I was like, wow, I really like this. And that's what I wanted to come back to the States. Like as soon as I was done with Sweden, I was like, I want to come back to the States, whether I'm playing or not. I just want to like make connections with people and
Yeah.
do this. So that's what I really found joy in was helping others and talking about it. And I started posting on TikTok more even just to share my story because
That's how I met you.
yeah, I know. And I had people reaching out like you're so ins because I got sent home from Sweden after a
Yeah.
week and they're like you're so inspiring. You're working out like 3 days post-op and you have such a good mindset, which I will say has been up and down since like
It's
obvi-
normal.
yes, it's an injury. It's going to be normal, but having people reach out and say that and like talk to me about it, I was just like, wow, I really like this. So that's why I started posting on social media, even if
Cool.
it's I can help one person, I
Yeah.
want to be able to help one person.
Now, what was your master's in?
My master's was data and communications. It was just something to get in a year, so that's why.
So you
But
could play.
yes,
Right. All right. I mean, what about going back and getting a psych master?
I've thought about it a lot.
Right.
Yes.
That,
I don't
that
know. I don't know exactly. Like my thing is a lot of what I'm doing is helping girls through my experiences, and I wouldn't even say I need a psych master's for that if this could work.
yeah.
But if it would help me go further in the career, then I would do it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, Google now is like your master's. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like you don't have to go to school. You go on Google, you'll find anything you want. Or
ChatGPT helps me out
ChatGPT,
a lot.
right? So looking back, and you're a young woman. You got so much in front of you. But when somebody hears the name Emma, how do you want to be remembered?
That I was a positive person to be around and I made an impact on their life in a positive way. Whether that's I helped them, I inspired them, whatever it was. I just want to be able to for people to say that she lived like she was just so nice to be around, inspired me, and really made a difference in my life.
Mm. So if I were to reach out to one of your former players, what do you think they'd tell me?
Like one of the girls that I've helped.
That you've played with, helped, or who knows what?
Um, if it's a girl that I've helped, I think they would really say like, yeah, she is someone that I would want to keep in my life, that I would want, like, helped me a lot, inspired me, whatever it was. Um, my teammates, I would say I developed a lot in the last 3, 4 months when I wasn't part of a team anymore. And I think part of that is because I could reflect on my college experience. And even there's things that I'm not necessarily proud of, and I reflect that I should have been better in that moment. For instance, when I was a captain and I was injured, I think I showed a little bit too much of my emotions of how I was actually feeling. And I wasn't necessarily the positive leader that I wanted to be.
Yeah.
And so I think they would all respect me and say, like, she works really hard and she deserves everything she gets, and she's a good person to have in your life and be around. But I think I could have been a little bit more positive and like helpful and inspiring when I was in those leadership roles.
Mm. Has anybody ever mentioned that to you?
Um, no, I kind of reflected it on
You just
my,
feel it.
yeah, because I was like, I honestly see other people in leadership roles now, and if they go through an injury, I'm like, that's how I was, and that's not how a captain should be. And I'm like, I should, and I like try to help them and say something like, you're in a leadership role, you can't be acting like that. And the one person that I'm talking about actually was like, like this is how you were, and I was like, yeah, that does not make it right. But so I think seeing others in leadership roles and seeing others go through things that I might have dealt with has made me reflect on how I was when I was in that position, and that's why I would say I'm not proud of it. I don't think anyone's ever mentioned it to me. I mean, the people that I was closest, like my parents might have or something, and I
Right.
don't remember exactly, but I was kind of so in my head about the injury that I just was tuning out other things. And so, yeah, now that I have time to reflect. Also, now that I have time to like my current injury, there's times where I'm like, I still get into a mood, and I'm very aware of my moods now. Like I'm very aware of how I'm dealing with things and how I'm treating others. And people have called me out through this injury, and I'm not even in a leadership role. They're just like, Emma, like you gotta figure it out. And I'm like, yeah, I do. But they also understand that this is the hardest point of my life that I've ever been in. So,
Yeah, so let's let them know. You went to Sweden to play professionally, and you
yes,
were there for how long?
a week.
A week, and you broke your
2 weeks
ankle?
total.
2 weeks total.
Yes. After 1 week of being there as my second scrimmage, and I fractured and dislocated my ankle and tore all the ligaments as well.
How do you come back from that one?
Figuring that out. Um, so yeah, I don't know. It's been a challenge, I will say. I think if you would have interviewed me 3 weeks ago when we were on the phone, I probably would be a lot more positive about the situation because I was still really positive then. I'm not negative now about it. And I've had a lot of conversations in the last week even that have helped me, but it has been a huge challenge of relearning how to walk, the pain that I'm in and everything, and just not being able. I mean, my favorite thing to do is work out. I've said that several times, and I'm in the best part of the year to work out outside, and I can't step outside and work out, and that bothers me. So that's affected my mood a lot, and it's a long process. I've never had to deal with a surgery. So that has been a huge challenge and huge learning points for me. So it's definitely not easy. Also, it's my first time in the real world. As soon as I left college, I went and played pro, and I was still like, that was my next 7 months. that was my career path for the next 7 months. I had it figured out. I knew I was playing soccer, and when that all came to an end and I had to fly home to do surgery, I was like, wait, now what? Like, I don't have a job. I don't know what to do. And I don't have an outlet. I don't have soccer anymore. What am I supposed to do? So that's been a huge challenge. And I'm still figuring out. My main focus right now is to get back healthy and try to play again because I don't want to end my career on an injury. We'll see what happens. I don't know. I can't predict the future, but I'm doing everything possible to rehab my ankle and get back to a healthy version of myself.
How
So,
much more time you think until you're back on your feet and running?
um, at least 2, 3 months,
Three
two, three.
more months.
Yeah.
Oh
I've
boy.
been out for 2.5 months, but they estimated like a 6-ish months that the average person is back on their feet, like moving 90%. But I don't know if that's different for return to play. Like, it's not like the main thing that I'm struggling with this injury, it's not like ACL injury where it's cutthroat. There's so much research. You do this week. This is when you return to play. Like, it's not that common of an injury where there's so much research on it. And yeah, so I'm struggling with that just because it's like I don't know what's next. I don't know
Like
when
the unknown.
yeah, I don't know when I can run. I don't know when I'm going to be able to return to play. Like, I don't know anything.
Well, you said before, well, the average person is takes this long. Well, you're
Yes.
not the average person, so it
No.
won't be that long for you.
Well, that's what I'm thinking, but then at the same time, that's the average person just being able to like get back to walking normally. So it's like, is it different to return to play?
I don't think the average person puts in the same intensity to rehab that you do.
Guess we'll find out.
Yeah, right.
I
Which
mean,
is
yeah,
well, the good thing is you have a roof over your head, you have
yes,
clothes on your back, food on your table, you have two parents that will do anything for you,
yes,
you
that
know,
is,
and the rest will take care of itself.
yes,
But it sounds like to me, from what you're saying, that you got a pretty good idea of what's next if soccer's over.
yes.
Yeah,
I think, I think I do. It's just a matter of like, how do
acting it
I
out.
build it and how
Yeah,
do I get it out there and everything? Because I also think a big part of me is like, I want to have an experience of soccer, and that stresses me out. Like, what if I can't? So it's hard to think about the business that I'm creating and what I want to do when I still am in the unknown of playing and everything like that.
I think you're going to figure it out.
I think I will too.
Yeah.
Everything will figure itself out.
Remember, everything always works out,
Yes, it
right?
does.
So, Emma, we've been talking now for almost an hour and a half. A lot
Wow.
of cool stuff. We have a hell of a story. We covered, growing up, high school, college, injuries, all kinds of stuff, post-college now. We covered a lot. Is there anything we haven't touched on you think we should hit before we wrap it up?
Trying to think. Um, I just think I think a big thing for me right now and how I'm like living my life and the most important thing that I would want to share with others is be present. And I think that's a big thing that I even have learned the last week. It's like you can't stress about what happened already and you can't stress about what's going to happen because everything happens for a reason. And obviously, life will throw things at you and there's a lot of unpredictables, but at the end of the day, if you're present and you're doing everything you can in the moment, then it will all work itself out. And that's just something that I've been thinking about and trying to keep myself accountable for. So I would want to share that with others is just to really focus on the now. And it's easier said than done, obviously, but um, that's the biggest thing through life, I think.
It's just, be where your feet are.
Yes.
Even if you can't stand on them right now, be where your feet are, right?
Yes, exactly.
Well, Emma, listen, I wish you the best of luck. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to
Yes.
to share your story, which I can't wait to post this and have everybody hear it, because there's a lot of people out there going through what you're going through or have gone through, and they don't know how to handle it. and your story is going to help them,
I'm happy
which
to
is
help.
which is
That's what I
awesome.
want.
Yeah.
Thank
So
you for having me.
I am looking forward to seeing you back out on the field soon.
Me too.